art students, I'm Miss Russ and I'm here to show you how to complete level C at the Drawing Center. Let's tilt you down and get started. So just like always, we need ourselves a new page in our sketchbook. We've put our name at the top. We're making sure that we're on an experimentation page. We're circling that we're at the Drawing Center and that we are going to level C. We have our resource here that tells us we get to use Sharpies this time. We're going to start with our play and experimentation, step 1, and knowing that we're going to end up creating a mini piece of art for step 2. All right, let's label this step 1 and get started. So I'm going to look at my levels guide, and in my levels guide, if I go right, oh, Miss Russ having issues. There she go, crooked. Ha! So it says fill in areas with a solid color, create clean lines, create pattern, and create layers by putting darker Sharpie on top of lighter Sharpie. Whew, that's a list. Let's give it a try. So it said lighter Sharpie goes down first, so I'm gonna switch over here. I'm gonna try this guy out. Look at that. I can create something called a calligraphic line where my line goes from thick to thin. I can also create areas that I fill in. Nice. And then it says create clean lines. Well, I wasn't able to create clean lines with this guy. So let's talk about caring for the Sharpie before we switch over. First off, this cap, we always want to listen for the snap. Oop, Miss Russ didn't make it snap. Here she is trying to make her video. Listen for the snap. Oh, there it goes. Okay, and then we store the cap on the end. Now we don't want to push super hard or we'll break the cap. So just lightly set it there and then we always listen for the snap. Okay, once we've done that, we can switch over to a smaller Sharpie. And this is where I can see, look, I have a lot more control to make nice, clean lines. I can even make really detailed, eloquent lines if I switch over to a smaller Sharpie. Again, I stored the cap on the back and I listen for the snap. Oh, Miss Russ, you're snap deficient. There it went. Okay. It talked about taking darker Sharpies and putting them over top. I recommend trying the blacks and the purples, but you'll notice, look at this. It goes right over top. It shows up super clean. And this is a great way to create pattern, which can provide interest to your design. Let's talk about how you make a pattern. So first off, a pattern is essentially a stamp that you make yourself. And it starts with something called a motif. And a motif is the part of the stamp that repeats, the pattern that repeats. So if I take a circle could be my stamp. And if I repeat it, this is the simplest form of a pattern. You can predict what comes next. Now, I could take my motif and I could make it more complex. Look, now my motif is line, circle. So then I can have a more complex pattern, right? So the more complex you make, oh, Miss Russ just screwed up her pattern. Your motif, the more interesting your pattern will be. Oh, there, I finally got the snap. All right. If we go back to our resource poster, we will see next part is step 2. We need to plan out our art. We need to outline edges with the finer or ultra fine Sharpie, depending on how fine your details are. And then we need to fill in, just like I did here on this example. And then finally, I need to go back and add patterns by adding darker Sharpie over light. All of that is going to happen right down here by drawing a line and labeling this 2. And this is where my mini piece of art can go. With that, as always, art students, happy creating. Bye!